Why is budgeting and planning not the most important aspect of personal finance management? Sad truth. We are accustomed to thinking that we control our lives and finances, considering ourselves more rational than we actually are. Perhaps in the past you have already started to organize your finances, but something went wrong. This is not accidental, and our personal financial behavior is influenced by attitudes, subjective beliefs about money and their role in life, which we form from childhood. So it all starts with the psychology of money, impulsive purchases, unwillingness to make financial decisions, or simple procrastination may not be traits of your character, but subconscious attitudes. What influences our relationship with money? We all understand the importance of having savings for a rainy day and regularly saving money, but when we feel sad or anxious, we can spend everything on spontaneous purchases. We understand perfectly well that this is not the best behavior, but emotions take over. Emotional reactions are normal. If you have money and want to buy something to feel happier, why not? The question is whether you really need this thing and how such personal financial behavior affects your life. When we need to make a financial decision, we usually choose the familiar course of action based on our attitude towards money and internal beliefs. Attitudes. What are attitudes? Attitudes are internal beliefs and perceptions that we poorly realize or do not realize at all. They are formed throughout life, but especially actively in childhood and adolescence when we are very receptive to new information and experience. How are attitudes formed? Our views on what money is and how to manage it are influenced by personal experience, our family's experience, and the conditions in which we live. First, influence of society and culture. It is the environment in which we grew up and live, traditions, religion, historical events. For example, gender stereotypes, when society assigns certain responsibilities to men or women. If a woman grew up with an internal feeling that she does not need to work and her husband will provide money, it will be difficult for her to earn. And men may experience increased anxiety because the responsibility for the financial well-being of the family lies entirely on their shoulders due to this stereotype. And there are many such stereotypical attitudes. Second, influence of political and economic events and ideas. For example, in Scandinavian countries, they adhere to the idea of monetary equality. It is difficult to grow financially, but there are guarantees. This reduces financial anxiety. On the other hand, it reduces opportunities for self-realization and financial development. Third, influence of family experience. We adopt the experience of our relatives and close ones, including financial behavior. Parents do not always intentionally form specific views on money for the child, but the child may be present during conversations about finances or see how adults handle them. For example, in childhood, no one directly told you that money is bad, but you remember regular quarrels between parents, from which it could be concluded that money destroys relationships. Every family history and its influence on a person are unique. Fourth, personal experience influence. John F. Kennedy, when asked what he remembered about the Great Depression, when almost every fifth resident of the United States was unemployed at its peak, answered, "I have no personal memories of the Depression. My family at that time was one of the richest in the world. We lived in large houses, had a lot of servants, traveled a lot. From what I saw personally, I remember only that my father deliberately hired extra gardeners just to give them money for food. I knew nothing about the Depression until I read about it while studying at Harvard." This example shows that even such a global economic event can pass by and not affect a person. Sometimes personal experience is more important than economic and socio-cultural factors. What we encounter personally can vary greatly from family experience. Personal experience is a key factor influencing our attitude towards money. How to influence attitudes. Before working with attitudes, it is important to remember two things. First, although attitudes are not always realized, they make up the load-bearing structure of our worldview and self-perception. You can't just take and throw away part of the load-bearing structure. That is, we cannot completely get rid of attitudes and radically change our behavior. Second, if attitudes have appeared and settled, it means that they could once be useful and even necessary for you. For example, now financial anxiety seems too high to you, but once it helped you to accumulate the necessary amount or get out of debt. Or a tendency to impulsive purchases helps you feel alive, and probably you know how to enjoy it. If beliefs have been with us for a long time, they carry some meaning. Otherwise, our psyche would have tried to get rid of them. But no matter how familiar our attitudes are, we can work with them, make them more flexible to gradually change financial behavior. If you are ready to explore your own financial attitudes, answer the following questions. Think about what you have learned about money in your life. Formulate what attitudes you may have acquired based on your experience. Read each attitude aloud and try to listen to yourself. What feelings and emotions do you experience? Question the attitude. Try to imagine that you hear this attitude for the first time and want to learn as much as possible about it. Try to reformulate the attitude. After trying to realize that your attitude is not always correct, you can slightly change and reformulate it, making it softer and more flexible. If your attitudes have the words must or need, try replacing them with can or want. What to do with all this? Attitudes exist with us for many years, and it is not always possible to change them quickly. It's okay. If suddenly it doesn't work out, don't be upset. The more you pay attention to the attitudes that influence your financial decisions, the more chances you have to build harmonious relationships with money and achieve your financial goals. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to our channel to learn more about essential money matters. Keep in mind, the wise use money as a tool, while the foolish chase it as an end in itself.